Hi everyone, Dr. Piontek here. I just wanted to provide you with a brief overview of Nursing 720. So during immersion, I had given you a copy of the syllabus as well as the course schedule. So we'll just go through those very briefly, but I wanted to let you know I posted an announcement that I had to make a brief change to the syllabus. As some of you know, we are down to 11 students. We had 12, but one had to leave or not begin the program for personal reasons. But this changed the assignments a little bit. So the Terry text assignment sheet that I had handed out to you is correct. But the syllabus, if you turn to page 4 at the very top, it talks about pairs and then the groups of 3 presentation. So even though there are 2 groups of 3 that will be doing the Terry text, all of you will be doing 2 presentations. And so in order to accommodate for the change in the number of students, there will be a position in the gradebook for the first presentation that all of you will do, and then in the gradebook, the where all of you will be doing your second presentation. So your second presentation will either be in a group of 2 or in a group of 3. So that's unfortunately just how it worked out. It was the easiest way to fix that for the time being. So I won't, again, go into the syllabus. I won't go into the course calendar. You all have that. If you have questions about that, let me know. And then, of course, we have the Terry text here, the assignment allocations for that. I have the textbooks that are required for this course, which I think all of you pretty much have known about. There's some steps for success if you want to click on that. I also have a brief explanation about CITI training. I put this video up last year, so everything in it is the same with the exception of the drop boxes. You will actually use the Dropbox in Module 8 to upload your proof of your CITI training. And then here is a screenshot of CITI training modules that I would like for you to complete. So when you log into CITI training, you're going to log in as a student researcher or as a graduate student, and then you're going to select nursing because those modules are specific to what nurses would do as part of their research. It is specific to what our division requires of you with the CITI training. And then there's a little brief explanation of the library research from Paul Worrell, and that's pretty much it. We'll do a mid-semester survey mid-semester, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Or you don't have to worry about it at all. It's just something we'll cover mid-semester. It's just a basic idea about what's working well in the course, what needs to be changed, and then like if there's any changes that I can make in the middle of the course to make it, more adaptable to you, then we'll definitely do that. So the next area that I want to go into, if you go into faculty, it basically just gives you my contact information. Announcements, of course, if there's anything pressing or any changes that are being made, I will post those into the announcement section. I will also post like assignment reminders. So I send these through, they'll immediately go to your email. If it's a video, oftentimes you have to access Blackboard to look at the video because I use a YouTube video. And sometimes it won't register with phones. So you might have to watch the video actually in the Blackboard course. But so just kind of look out for those weekly announcements and anything that changes, assignment reminders, that sort of thing. And then if you click on the leadership modules, there are 8 of them. So they run every 2 weeks. And for the first module, for example, let me just go into it. I'll show you how each module is kind of broken up. So I try to do a TED Talks with each module, just something that pertains to what we are covering or things that I find pretty relevant for you as a DNP student. there is the forum link that will take you right to our forum, or what is formerly known as a discussion board. If you click on the content folder, it will give you some additional references. For Module 1 in particular, Dr. Whittington did a great overview of the first 4 chapters of the APA manual, and I asked her if I could borrow that, and she graciously allowed me to do that. So I went ahead and added that in there. The Terry text, if you click on this, it will bring you in. You might have to sign into your Microsoft, which would be the same credentials as what you are as a student. So if you have problems with that, let me know. That's that video that I created to show you how the synthesis of the Terry text will run. So when it's your turn to do a chapter in the Terry text, this is just an example of the chapter 1 overview that I've done of the Terry text. There is some great information. I love YouTube, especially whenever it's relevant. So I have a YouTube video here that basically summarizes the null and alternative hypotheses that is really more or less covered in chapter 6. Another YouTube video about, or actually this video is specific to the null and alternative hypothesis. This one, same, but it also talks about rejecting the null hypothesis, type 1 errors, and statistical significance. So I thought these videos did a really good job explaining those things. So there are other things in here that you can click on to that will speak to your DNP journey. So going back then into Leadership Module 1, you will see not every module has a statistics quiz. This one does. So this one will cover, it's basically questions over chapter 6 of your HEV text. There are 5 questions. Sometimes these quizzes will be multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank. You have an hour to take the quiz. Many students don't need even just, they only need a fraction of that time, but I wanted to make sure you had plenty of time. Now, if you need more time, you will not be shut out. You will just continue to take the quiz, and there is no penalty for that. But I just wanted to let you know, and you may use your HEV text. Okay, I think it is really kind of outlandish for us to expect anytime there's questions and statistics or anything else for that matter that that all has to be stored in your brain. I mean, if I'm running any kind of data through SPSS, I'm always looking up things. So that's why I have no problem with you using your HEV text when you're taking these quizzes. So, and then finally, I wanted to show you in many of the modules, I will do a looking ahead. And the purpose for this is so that it gives you plenty of time to prepare. So it's always a good idea to look at the looking ahead at the very beginning of each module. So that way then you can complete the task at hand for that specific module that you're in, but you also have it in the back of your mind that, okay, I know it's coming ahead. So if you have time within that previous module to work on, or if you have time during the module to work on the next module's assignment, that's always a really good idea. I would strongly encourage you to kind of work ahead as you can, just because there's so many components to the chapter 1 that's expected throughout this course. So I just want to make sure you have plenty of time. So if you notice here, it says attached to the checklist for the background, significant, and problem purpose statement. So when we talk about the problem purpose statement, we're really going to kind of use that interchangeably. In the PhD world, they often call it a problem statement. In the DNP world, they often call it a purpose statement. It really doesn't matter. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, it relatively is about the same. So you might see some texts refer to it as a problem statement, whereas other texts will refer to it as a purpose statement. And you might even see that in different scholarly projects. So that's chapter 1 in a nutshell. And then if you look into the forum, so for the first forum, you will read basically this discussion board question and then just follow the instructions. it's set up differently than what the other forums are going to be. So as I had explained previously, forums 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 are really going to be all about those components of your chapter 1. So, and as we go on, I'll explain each week about what that entails, what each of those forums will entail. So, for module 1, you'll just complete it. This is just like a regular discussion board or forum question that you're probably accustomed to, and so you read the directions and just follow along there. So for example, just the change that I wanted to show you with module 2, that's whenever we're getting into really creating the components of our chapter 1. So if you notice, I have all of the checklists here. They are hyperlinked, so you can just download those each time. So how this works is you're going to, and so I have these embedded in all of the modules. I have them embedded in the forums, and I have them here in the checklist, okay? So there's multiple places where you can find them. So if you're like, I just really don't know where the checklist is for the theoretical framework, you can go right here to the checklist. We do the theoretical framework in module 3, so you can go there, and you know, I wanted to make them accessible for you. So if we click on one of the checklists, for example, let me just show you how this will work. You'll use the checklist to construct your paper. So, and one thing that I really want to zero in on is please do not make a title page. All I want you to do for each of these papers up until we get to the final module, which is module 8, I just want you to use the headings, background and significance, and then another heading of purpose statement, okay, for this one in particular. And then the next assignment, it will be the heading of theoretical framework. You can type your name in at the top, so that way then if we print them off, I'm one that I sometimes have to print a paper. If I'm just getting computer fatigue or screen fatigue and I just need to back away from the screen a little bit, I'll print a paper and just read it on paper. So just make sure that you do type your name in one of the upper right or left-hand corners of each of your assignments, with the exception of module 8 when you'll actually use a title page, okay? So this is the checklist that you will use. And so as you write your paper, just kind of think about all of these parameters here, all right? So you'll see that some of these checklists are multiple pages, okay? And just think about that as you're constructing that assignment. And then when you go to review, so you'll submit this, and then you will have, for this one in particular, 2 people who will be, 2 classmates who will be reviewing your paper. As a reviewer, then you're going to download this checklist. You're going to type your name in here, or type in the author's name here that you're reviewing their work, and then type in your name here. And then if they met these, you'll just put an X on the line. If they didn't meet them, you'll put like number 1 here and then a number 1 down here, and just make your comments. So that way your comments coincide with the specific parameter on the checklist. If you are the author of a paper and say, for example, a parameter is not applicable to your paper, what you can do when you submit your paper in the discussion board, and I'll show you that in just a second. I think I have 1 more minute to go. But when you go to submit that, in that thread, you can simply explain that to the reviewers. So let me go into the forum and let me show you how that works real quickly. So we're going to go into module 2. And again, I'll cover this again next week, but I wanted to just get you used to how things are going to work. If you notice, I have everyone set up. So for example, Tommy, you're going to submit your paper here. Denise and Jason, you're going to be reviewing Tommy's paper. Tommy, if you say, hey, you know, there are things that it didn't, there were parameters that were not applicable, go ahead and list those in your thread, and then you're going to submit your paper as an attachment. Well, I am almost out of time, so I'm going to leave it here, but I am going to touch base with you again very soon and pick up where we left off. Thanks.